But that is an area where my opponent, we've only had one debate, and since then he has persistently avoided any more. There are none scheduled till October. And even those are only in the Richmond and Northern Virginia area. He won't get out and debate around Virginia. And I will tell you, in the AG's office, we're under the shadow, or race, we're under the shadow of the governor's race. If you're not in somebody's community, they're not reading about the Attorney General's race. So if he actually wants people, and he knows this, if he wants people to be able to see us both, compare us side by side, kick the tires, and decide who to vote for, he knows very well we need to get around and do that. And that's exactly why he's not doing it. They're counting on raising more money than we do and just spending us into the dirt with negative ads in October. It's not a new strategy, but it's one that's worked for candidates in the past. We'll see if it works for him this year. He would not engage on the 10th Amendment. He would not commit to resisting these kinds of depredations of Virginia's sovereignty. He wouldn't do it, and I did. Cap and trade, now we can't stop the taxes from the AG's office, but some of the regulatory invasions are things that we could address, we could resist. Right to work, absolutely protectable. Does that mean we'll win? No, but we have a basis to fight under the 10th Amendment if the federal government starts to carve away at our right to work. Like I said, I can't promise you that we'll win, but I can promise you that I'll fight. And unlike my opponent, I have a record of doing it, including with Republicans. And I think that's actually an important record for someone who wants to be Attorney General. One of the nicest things anybody said about me, was kind of creative, was a Democrat, Benny Lambert, when he was in the Senate, said Cuccinelli is the Doug Wilder of the Republican Party, which was an interesting thought. But what he meant was that I acted independent of the party. That if they're off track, if I think they're off track, I'm not going to go with them. I'm going to try and bring them back. And if that means we're going to be at odds, then we're going to be at odds. When Virginia's largest tax increase in history came through, I fought my own leadership like crazy. I fight with them over life issues. We fight over property rights. It is, you know, for years, my big fights were all with Republicans, not with Democrats. I mean, in many ways, my life got a lot easier when the Democrats took over the Senate. Now I can fight with the other side. That's easy. It's easy to fight with the opponents. It's a lot harder to fight with your allies. My opponent has never done that. He's never done that. If you look at all his bills, when they come through the Senate, they're like 35-5, 40-0. There's nothing hard about any of this. He doesn't fight for anything. Nothing. You know, he may make more friends, it may all be chummier, but he's not getting anything done. And he's not changing the direction of Virginia in ways that I'm trying to do. So we have major differences in that area. Life, I'm pro-life, he's not. Marriage, I actually went out and campaigned for the marriage amendment, one of only 2 legislators to do that. And I did it in Northern Virginia, not exactly politically correct. The only office that matters anymore for the marriage amendment is Attorney General. No other office in Virginia matters for that. They're all cheerleaders. The only decision left to make is, are you going to defend the marriage amendment? Out in California, the never-boring Jerry Brown is their Attorney General. And he has said he will not defend their marriage amendment. He won't defend it, and that's his prerogative as the Attorney General of California. My opponent voted with us to put it on the ballot, and 3 weeks before the vote he came out against it. Flip-flop. And obviously I'm an attorney, you have to be Attorney General, so my opponent and I cancel that negative out too. Both from Fairfax, both lawyers. Gets uglier as you go down the list. But you know, when you go hire a lawyer, you want someone who's actually going to fight for your position, not say, well, I guess we have to do this, which is more or less his political position at this point. There's a difference. I can tell you there's a big difference. I do constitutional law work as an attorney. There's a big difference in how those cases are defended. Big difference. And That's the Roe v. Wade of marriage that's coming. That's what that case is going to be. It may come from California, it may come from Virginia. With the decision of the Iowa Supreme Court earlier this year, two people from any state in the country can go to Iowa, get married, and come back to Virginia and sue for their marriage certificate, which they wouldn't get under Virginia law. And we're off. And we're off to the Supreme Court. And I say the Supreme Court because the Democrats kept 4 seats open on the Fourth Circuit. There are 15 judges on the Fourth Circuit. This is Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, West Virginia, Maryland. Traditionally, the most steady conservative circuit in the country. No longer. In 1 year, this will be a liberal circuit. The Democrats kept 4 seats open while Bush was president. That partial birth abortion ruling that we won 6-5 this past summer. 6-5. That was that should have been a slam dunk. Should have been a slam dunk. Well, add 4 liberal judges to that 5 and you've got yourself a 9-6 liberal court. And what that means is that for anything important, anything meaningful, we're going to have to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I'm prepared to do that. I'm ready to do that. I think marriage is worth fighting for. I think that we need to fight for it. And going back to the Declaration of Independence, that's a natural law document. We're a natural law foundation country. One of the simplest natural law notions is that marriage is between a man and a woman. The Founding Fathers would be pretty appalled that we even debate this. I mean, how far have we fallen that this is even a point of discussion? But here we are, and we need to defend it, and we need to do more than that. We need to go on offense, and we need to take ground back that we've lost on all of these areas. It is not enough to play defense. For those of you that are football fans, prevent defense prevents what? Winning. That's right. You got to go on offense. Got to go on offense. And we can do that here in Virginia this year. We need help with you talking to your neighbors, talking to people that you've never met before, making phone calls, door knocking. I'm going to go up to Charlottesville here in a little bit and do some door knocking. Another thing Rob Bell does very well. And that kind of grassroots persistence in delivering a message one-on-one, one at a time, it can't be matched. Short of having the candidate talking to an individual in person, talking to somebody they know and trust and hearing about these issues is the most significant way to gather in a supporter. You know, if you talk to somebody you know in your church in detail about my race, and they can see a whole month's worth of negative ads, and your conversation will carry more weight. Will carry more weight. There's no substitute for live human interaction. There's no substitute for grassroots campaigning. And foundational principles can't be taught in 30-second ads. You know, you've got to talk to people a little bit more than that. And I'd ask you to do that. We've got 66 days left here. We've got a great opportunity